I'm seeing everybody typing 1 in the chats because Red Giraffe asked you all to. So yeah, type 1 in the chats because we are unquestionably, undoubtedly, unarguably the #1 YouTube channel audit live stream currently live at this very moment. I think that cannot be questioned. And I'm playing it safe there as well. Hey, everyone. It's week 39, episode 39 of vidIQ Tuesday channel audits in 2022, where we as YouTube educators, so-called experts, just passionate creators, open up our classroom and invite you all in with its unlimited spaces. And you decide whether or not you want to submit your channels, be a little vulnerable, expose the deeper inner workings of your channel as we critique, praise, constructively feedback on how you may become a better creator so that we can all grow as a collective YouTube family. And as always, I could not do this without my resident co-host, who becomes the main host every Wednesday. We kind of switch it here and there, and is my only co-host today. He is the eyebrow-raising, now fully integrated Steam Deck backup computer person, Dan.
Checks notes. Checks notes person.
How's it going, Dan? Are you live streaming from your Steam Deck right now? Just
no,
if you know.
I can, which is pretty cool. But no, I would have to switch my audio to it and then the camera as well. But I technically can, which is why it's such a cool device.
Let's talk about that then. Actually, would you say, Dan, that your Steam Deck has been your best purchase of the year of all the things you bought? Oh, great. Okay. What is it? What is it?
Did I buy the Rodecaster this year?
No, you've been telling me for years at this point to buy a Rodecaster. I don't think. This is a question to all of you in the chat, by the way. Let us know what's been your best purchase, be it creatively or not. Like, what's the thing that you've bought that you've enjoyed most this year?
My big light.
Your big lights.
Yes, for video recording. But I haven't really. Today I told myself I'm going to sit down with the Steam Deck and actually play a game on it. I've been more tinkering with it and it's been fun, but I haven't gotten to really enjoy it. So I've just been so busy. But today I told myself that's what's happening. I'm going to, whatever I need to do later tonight is not going to get done.
Okay, so a big light and a Steam Deck for Dan. I'm seeing in the chat 3D printer. I'm still on the fence as to whether to get one of these. They still feel really big and bulky, and you have to buy endless amounts of ink. They've not crossed that, like,
ink?
It just works. Well, whatever it is, you've got to buy, is it resin? What do you buy for?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, I think you have to buy a lot of that. It's not crossed over the threshold yet for the Wilson definition of it just works. Like the Quest 2 was my VR, it just works. I don't think 3D printers have got there for me yet. Driven Flawed with a Mustang Mach 1.
Printers, by the way, don't work by themselves. Paper, ink. But just to mention that. Sorry.
I've been thinking of getting a Mackie as my first electric car at some point. I'm ready for that transition, but I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know if my next car is going to be another gas guzzler or electric car. I think there might be another generation of electric cars before I buy my first electric car. Still thinking about it. What else have we got here? Lots of people talking about new cameras that they've got, microphones. Here is Daniel Lord, the VR headset for him, headphones, PC. What have we got? Anything different? A proper gaming mouse for TF. What do you define as a proper gaming mouse? Is it just like really high DPI or like weighted mouse in some kind? Do let us know. Somebody's finally bought a computer. That's probably quite helpful for creating content, although you can do it through a mobile device these days. Dan, I'm having buyer's remorse about this microphone. I'm feeling I should have bought one of these Elgato Wave 3 microphones instead.
Just get an XLR microphone and get a Rodecaster and be done with it. finally be done with it.
£1,000 expense to vidIQ coming up very, very soon in that sense. Somebody bought a chair. So happy with a dedicated gaming chair. Just an video editor, Final Cut Pro for FPST. Ring lights, I would always highly recommend a ring light as your first good light if you were going to get one, because it's multi-purpose. It can do a lot of things. Graphics card, is this for gaming or is this for Bitcoin mining?
A lot more for Bitcoin mining.
Do let us know.
Like 20 of them.
Chat and anything else here. I love it. So is that what it is? It's epoxy resin that you need for a 3D printer. I'm going to guess it is. You see, what I want to do is, if I bought a 3D printer, a confession here, something that I used to collect a lot of were Star Wars and Star Trek micro machines. Like, that was my, I'm going to say, passion in my teens. I love collecting those models. So to be able to get, I guess, the 3D CAD file or whatever, is that how you do it? Again, correct me in the chat. And just to be able to print out all of these little starship models. I'd love them to be painted though, and I don't think a 3D printer does that. It just builds it based on the color of the resin that you're using. So that's why I'm still not convinced yet with a 3D printer. So I'm sure all of you have been. Oh, so someone else has Steam Deck. So it's not the Stream Deck, because often when I do a search for Google, I get results for the Stream Deck and the Steam Deck. But somebody's got a Steam Deck.
I've been so annoyed because I've been having problems with my Stream Deck. It hasn't been turning on with my computer, and I can only get results for Steam Deck not turning on, and it's so frustrating. I eventually figured it out, but that was me getting ready to just throw my computer.
Oh, no.
That's a problem. That was my Stream Deck being used right there for my sound effects. All right, shall we get on with this, Dan?
All right.
We've allowed 500 people to enter the live stream. So I know some of you will be new here today, and we're going to explain exactly how this live stream will operate for the next couple of hours through a helpful video. But if you are a regular here, do please welcome in all of these new guests, because we get many new creators every single week. And we want to welcome you in as new members of the vidIQ family and help you with the next step of your YouTube journey, wherever it is. And this is where we will aid you in that journey. Welcome to the vidIQ channel audit live stream, where we review your YouTube channels. To submit your channel for review, make sure to fill out the right form linked in the video description. Note that we clear these forms after every live stream, so make sure to resubmit the following week. Channel audits are free, so please don't send us a super chat or spam us in a chat expecting a review. If there are alternative ways to get picked for an audit, we will let you know during the live stream. If we don't get around to reviewing your channel today, vidIQ has a channel audit tool working 24/7 with you. Make sure to download our tools and use the 30-day free trial using a link in the video description. If you submit your channel for review, expect the following. We are sharing nothing more than our knowledge, experience and passion as fellow YouTube creators. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our moderators who do a phenomenal job every single week. Thank you. As for all of you, well, thumbs up if you enjoy this live stream, subscribe if you love it, and if you know of a fellow creator who may find all of this stuff useful, please do share it with them. And with all of that being said, let's start auditing your channels. Housekeeping as always. As I said, any financial donations during this live stream will not benefit you in terms of an audit. We like to keep this free and open to all. I do apologize to Alan Big, who thinks our stories are boring, but by saying this, you now have just discounted yourself from being picked for an audit, because I'm a mean and nasty person and I hold grudges. Dan may pick you, but I don't know. There could be problems here. I'm joking, of course.
It was a boring story.
all right. Jeez. Even
my Stream Deck story, I meant, was
can't get spot from my co-host. Blimey, he's regret that so much tomorrow. We audit channels every single week. We get thousands of submissions. We can't audit every single channel every single week, and that's not really the intent, to bring a particular creator onto the channel audits and be the focus and say, yeah, you're going to get loads of views and subscribers from us auditing your channel. That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing is using your channels as a canvas for all creators to kind of look at the picture and say, this channel is struggling with thumbnails, or this channel needs a bit more work on their channel focus. That channel could be writing better titles. And those channels are the conduit for our conversation. So it doesn't matter if we're auditing a gaming channel about Fortnite or a beauty channel about how to curl your bangs. I think that's a phrase that you can use appropriately. They're going to have common challenges or mistakes, and we're going to talk about them. And you should be able to, if you bring up your channel on a second screen, be able to compare and contrast and see how that could benefit your channel. So with all of that being said, if you do want to let us know in the chat how excited you are now to jump into some channel audits, let us know through the power of emojis, be it fire, be it a smiley dollop of poo, or a dollar emotes, 100 emojis. Let us know in the chat right now as we pick our first channel that's submitted from the submission form. Yes, broken YouTube monkey. That's another way of sharing your delights at how we're going to audit channels. This is the first channel that's submitted this week from our forms that you can still fill out in the description. And Dan, we are looking at the 86th Street project. And I'm going to throw it straight over to you to try and digest this channel over the first 15 to 20 seconds. And you tell us what you think this channel is about.
You want me to digest the cooking channel?
Hey, nice, nice.
Well, it's obviously a cooking channel from the banner.
Is it?
Well, for cooks and chefs. I mean, the picture in the banner, not so much, but the
picture, yeah, it looked a bit magical in my sense. Like there was a hand trying to stop a meteor or something. I couldn't work out what the channel banner was about, really.
It looks like the spellcaster or something. I don't know. But yeah, for cooks and chefs. So channel name and banner aside, now that we kind of have that established, it does seem like they are making long form videos that are related to cooking, but kind of a different type of cooking channel. It's kind of like the YouTube education equivalent of a cooking channel. Like, you know, the one thing that could make being a chef a bad idea. So it's approaching cooking from a very different angle. And I think what I'm worried about for this channel, I've never seen a cooking channel like this before. I'm worried about how many content ideas you can come up with that are like for the generalist cooking channel. Now, there's one video about knives, and so then my mind opens up some possibilities about different cookware and appliances. So maybe you become like a cooking like review style channel, and then you're reviewing. It looks like which food service is better for you. So you're reviewing like hotels and things of that nature, which is kind of similar, but not really exactly the same. I do like the budget knives at Walmart. I don't know, Rob. I think could this be an example, and maybe we just have to look around YouTube. Could this be an example of a channel that's niched down a little too much? Like, would their opportunities be better if they specialized in the way a lot of cooking channels do, where they're like, I'm a baking channel. I make desserts. I make cakes specifically, or I make cupcakes. I'm the cupcake channel. Or, you know, do you feel like this is actually better? Like maybe this is really broad and they're going to capture a lot of people.
I don't think that they're niching down too much. What I think is I don't think problem is the right word. It feels too strong here, but you know, we see a lot of cooking channels, but there's something different about this cooking channel in that I think this is for professional chefs, not amateur hobbyists. And I think you were slowly finding your way to that conclusion, Dan.
Yeah.
But through the titles and the thumbnails, it was taking time to decode that. I think that's where the challenge was. You know, I think that the value proposition could be something more along the lines of you almost want to celebrate that, you know, this isn't just a regular amateur cooking channel. This is for real professionals. You know, you want to, you either are a professional or you want to turn this into a professional career. And I think that could be celebrated a little bit more in the value proposition.
So there's not a lot of people out there that are pursuing a career as a professional chef when compared to the amount of people who are cooking in their homes because they need to eat to survive. So I guess that's kind of what I mean. Like, they're targeting an audience that's just a little too narrow for like long-term growth? And I don't know, like there might be a lot of people who benefit from this. I also know that with the industry they're covering, there's also like there's sushi chefs and there's people who are chefs at like steakhouses and people who are chefs at vegetarian places. And so you're always like, yeah, you can kind of cater to chefs in general, but there's going to be different tools for different types of chefs. And can you build your authority amongst all of them?
I think we're gonna reach an impasse here, Dan. I think, and so I'm happy with where they are with their target audience. I just don't think their value prop is super strong yet. I think it's through the thumbnails.
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at this one, like it's very difficult to tell just from the thumbnail itself, other than can he cook, that this is about being a professional chef. I think this one is kind of weak as well in that you got a guy wearing a suit with a chef's hat on, and then it feels very much created in Canva, and I'm not getting strong vibes. This one's better,
Yeah.
but I feel as if is maybe each of the elements is a bit small. This one again is interesting, but why do you have the sky and clouds as a background? That just feels a little bit disjointed to me. You know, this one I think is a good example of where they're doing the Edward Scissorhands with the knives, and you're maybe suggesting here, can professional chefs get decent knives from Walmart? There seems like a clear purpose there. Whereas a look at this one, all my cooking experience, SpaceX just froze me. Like, I think if you're going to tell us why your SpaceX experience is interesting for a cooking channel, that would be the focus of a thumbnail rather than having Pizza Hut and the Market Grill and all of these other companies in the background.
Yeah.
So I just feel as if something's been lost a little bit in the translation in terms of the thumbnails and titles. But I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, Dan. I think I'm just approaching it from a different point of view.
Yeah, no, I think you're looking at the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which was just their approach in terms of titles and thumbnails for sure. I'm just kind of asking myself that question of what kind of audience is out there for this content, because I genuinely don't know. And I'm also now thinking, as I think about this more, there is an opportunity for people who are not professional chefs to still benefit from this content when you're talking
Yeah,
about like stuff a
yeah,
professional chef uses. So now I'm kind of
exactly.
wondering,
Yeah, good point.
is that the perspective this person needs to come from more often? Because they do have a video about their professional cooking experience.
Mm.
Should all of their videos be framed by, I'm a professional chef, I used to work in all these places, and now I'm going to help you, whether you want to become a professional chef or you just want to get better at cooking, like I'm going to help you be the best you can be. And if you're targeting that person with your videos over and over again, I think that'll help things stay a lot more consistent. Whereas right now, on at least on the more recent videos page, we were seeing a lot of different things that they were trying for a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of thumbnail improvements, like looking at that Walmart one, which I do like that video a lot as a concept. I just think it's a matter of sitting down and educating yourself on Photoshop or whatever you're using to edit these thumbnails, because the Walmart's in focus and you're in focus and you're standing in front of Walmart and you almost can't see the knives unless you zoom in. And so it's these principles that I would be working on and trying to get better at when constructing a thumbnail, because I feel like that video could have probably done a bit better.
See if you've got any good examples. I mean, maybe you just have. Let's get my mic. There we go. Maybe you just have that. You position yourself to the left or the right, and then you have a Walmart store in view. Like, this person's far more zoomed in. That's a brilliant thumbnail, by the way.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably don't have access to all of those knives set up in such a way, but so striking as a thumbnail. But yeah, I think. Oh, that's a nice one as well. Really like how that one's being framed.
Yeah.
So I think there is some work to be done on the thumbnails, especially for this creator. Now, having said this, they're approaching 500 subscribers, and the view counts tend to be generally healthy. 430 views on the latest long form piece of content, and 255, 155, 286. So there's nothing that's really peaking, nothing that's really tanking. So I would assume that you have a fair amount of a return audience here. But I wonder how many new viewers you're getting to this content every time you publish a video.
Yeah, it's a good question. They have a short about line cooks too, and now I'm also thinking about some opportunities where you could be making videos for people who are in the industry, like at the starting entry level phases, right? Like working in food, restaurants, and things. It's a tough thing to do, and so maybe you can help people by talking about the best restaurants to work for, the worst restaurants to work for. To talk about ways that approach it from the perspective of like I'm going to help people who are working in kitchens like get better pay, get better career opportunities. So there's like a whole bunch of different like avenues I think this creator could take.
I should search for line cook, and there's a healthy amount of recycling of content here, stuff that's a couple of months old. Maybe you could tackle this as a title or a video idea as well. And interestingly, Dan, I don't know if you saw that, but I misspelt line to say link cook.
Oh.
And my favorite game came up.
Cooking with Link. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, cooking with Link. Why would you have cooking as a mini game in any role-playing adventure or fishing? Big red flags for me. But anyway, that is 86th Street Projects. We wish you on the best of luck as you continue your YouTube journey, and we'll move on to the first game channel that's submitted from the form. And they are, as I pronounce this, Foe Slayer. That's the channel name I'm sticking with, whether it's right or wrong. They are a gaming tutorials channel with just over 100 subscribers. And just initially, I see a mix of games: Minecraft, Lego Star Wars, Roblox. Very familiar themes and topics we talk about every single week, Dan.
Yeah. So they claim to be a gaming tutorials channel. It does look like though that they're doing some live streams, and I have to imagine those aren't tutorials. Those are probably just them hanging out, playing different games. I think what would help is again some channel focus. Switching from Minecraft to Lego games to Roblox, it's just kind of a lot of whiplash for the viewer. We're trying to help you build a consistent audience of people who are going to come back for video after video after video. I think if you're going to do tutorials on how to beat bosses and stuff like that, that is a good way to do multiple games on one channel, right? Like I would stick to one type of game, but you're like the expert at beating these levels and these bosses and these types of games. Or you can be somebody who takes people through Roblox and fun game modes and like how-tos in there. And I think you could do a whole channel about Roblox and maybe even Roblox tutorials and things like that. But I feel like they're kind of jumping around way too much in terms of not just the games they're playing, but how they're playing them, where you have a channel banner that says like, oh, I do tutorials.
Yeah. Let's see about section. Plenty of games listed there. I think that's all of the games they're covering, actually, those three in particular. I just sort of by most popular, just to get a sense of what's worked in the past. Criminal Base was a particular performer for you. I guess the question is
Roblox Jailbreak. So it's how to find the criminal base in Roblox Jailbreak.
Oh, look, they actually ranked top for that.
Yeah.
So maybe that has died actually as a term, because I don't know. There's something from 4 weeks ago there. Just wondering if there's a reason why you departed from that game. Could it be something you could revisit? And thumbnail wise, my guess, Dan, is I see this probably 2 or 3 times a week in live streams. There's this glow effect font.
Yeah.
And that must be something from Canva or a similar thumbnail, online thumbnail tool.
I think so, yeah.
Because when I see that, I see a template is being used, or it makes it look more generic. Some of them, you've used different fonts, so there's a bit of continuity questions as well. There's this one here, which has performed pretty well. Doesn't have any text whatsoever, but you can see, I think, that there's a chaotic paintball game going on. So I think that's a good example of a thumbnail to use going forward.
Yeah.
Any others jumping out for you?
In terms of like videos performing well, like there's one Minecraft tutorial down there with 379 views, how to get barrier blocks in Minecraft. It seems to be that's like a pretty entry level tutorial, but there's new people coming into Minecraft all the time. So I just would like to see this channel really focus. You know, they have a success and then they move on from it really quickly. And it almost, like, from the outside looking in, it almost looks like a fear of success kind of thing. You know, something worked, like the Roblox paintball game, and you could have probably done a whole bunch of stuff on that, and you didn't. And if you kept up with it, not only could that original video have gotten more views, but subsequent videos would have gotten a lot of views. You would have started building up an audience. So that is a direction for this channel. If you're going to be somebody who, like, does tutorials, it's important to build that credibility. You know, you could become known for specific types of tutorials in a specific type of game. These how-to videos you're circling have all done pretty well.
These are all videos with over 100 views in the last pot. So I was just wondering if there was a common denominator between these.
Yeah. 3 of them are how-to videos. 3 of them are Minecraft.
Yeah.
So could you do some entry-level Minecraft how-tos, or Roblox, which is also enormous and has so many opportunities for playing a lot of different games on their platform. But we got to kind of pick a lane here. I think that it's time to go into your about section and make some sacrifices in terms of, you know, Lego Star Wars, Minecraft, and Roblox. We want you to pick one of those things and then develop a content strategy around it. You can certainly add games in the future. I'm not saying you can never do that, but it's a lot easier to build yourself up first and get an audience behind you and then pivot, rather than just force this to happen overnight because you're just going to do everything now. I like, we were looking on the forum today, we were pre-selecting channels, and I found a number of channels on the forum that just said, I cover multiple things. Like, that's just like, they were making it perfectly clear when we asked them what their channel focus was, that from our perspective, they don't have one, you know. And by their perspective, like, no, I'm a variety person. That's what I do. We want you to grow an audience, and we want you to, you know, be consistent. You can definitely do a lot of different things, but it always needs to be for the same type of person. You're going to grow a lot faster if you focus up.
Folks, you are watching the weekly vidIQ live stream. And if you are enjoying this, then why don't you share your love and give us a heart rating in the chat? So, like, 5 hearts means that this is the best live stream you've ever been to, and 1 heart means that you still love this live stream, just not as much as 5 hearts. And also, correct our like conundrum, whereby we have 650 people watching, and yet just over half of you have liked this live stream, which needs rectifying as quickly as humanly possible. And as you're doing that, we'll move to the next channel that we're going to audit. And Dan, we have found a channel with 1 subscriber today. Fast Tutorials. Again, I'll zoom in a little bit to help you. What's your first impressions on this one?
Well, looks like they're doing tutorials. Looks like they're under a minute. So they're kind of living up to their name there.
Yep.
And they're doing very, very, like, basic, you know, so add Spotify to your desktop in Windows. Like, super simple, super quick tips. I guess the question I'm asking myself with some of these, like the Spotify one, for example, is, do you see a demand for that? Is the Spotify installation process so difficult that you feel like you have to help people by saying, hey, like, if you want to get it on your desktop, these are the steps you have to take? Because when I search for problems with a piece of software, a browser, whatever it is, I get a lot of results because I'm not the only one having the problem. You know, there's a lot of people making videos for that specific problem. I have to imagine there's certain things with Spotify that are not as challenging to do than others. Like, if you can't get Spotify on your desktop, that's like a problem that Spotify should be addressing, because it should be in their kind of flow as you download their app and get it all set up.
It looks as if, just from the search there, that this is a searchable term.
Yeah.
How easy it is to compete with the best ranking videos is a question. And this creator is certainly going with a unique angle in that, you know, you can search for it and you can find a 9-minute video, or I can tell you how to do it in 45 seconds.
Well, the search you did is I can see that being helpful. The one I'm talking about is the one on the right there. It says how to add Spotify to your desktop.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair comment there. It's still got a similar amount of views, but yeah. Is that a problem? Good question.
So yes, certain things. I guess that comes from a place of like let's see 3 videos on that one day you posted. It kind of comes from a place of like I want to make sure I get 3 videos out today. What are they all going to be about? I have 2 ideas. I need one more. This one. Like I'm just going to do anything just to get a video out. Like that's kind of what it feels like. So now I'm wondering how many videos are like that where there's tutorials that are interesting and like things I don't know how to do off the top of my head, and then there's ones that are like, well, I don't know if anyone's really asking that question. So that's the kind of thing I'd be like worried about from their perspective. If you're going to do quick tutorials, like make sure they're tutorials that people want help with. Now, adding songs on your computer to Spotify, that makes sense. That's not like super straightforward. So it's only 9 days old. The channel doesn't seem that old. And it could be that some of these tutorials,
less than a month.
Yeah, some of these tutorials could still take off. And
there is that potential. Yeah.
You become the person that's known for helping people with specifically like Windows apps, software that is installed on Windows, and there's common questions people are asking about it.
I want to watch this video just as an example, because off the top of my head, I don't know how to do this to change the cursor on a mouse. So I'm going to watch this and see if I get all of the information I need in 25 seconds.
What's up, guys? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to change the color of your mouse cursor. This works in Windows 10 and Windows 11. So what you want to do is you want to head over to search, type in mouse pointer style, and then from here you can just change the color.
All right.
Also choose.
You get your answer very quickly, very efficiently.
Just click on choose another color.
You've solved my problem.
I hope it helped out. If it did, leave a like. Peace out.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It's a very functional piece of content. I guess
keyboard's a bit loud.
Yeah, true. I guess the question here is, you've made what, 20 videos right now, and you haven't seen much traction yet. And I'm thinking here, is this a unique situation whereby the videos are almost too short? Like if it was a YouTube short, then it might have a little bit more traction. But I tend to find in the tutorial world, the videos under a minute, but a landscape, don't tend to pick up traction. Now, this is anecdotal opinion. I'm not saying this is fact in any way, shape, or form. So my thought is, how could you make these videos a little bit longer, but still have a lot of value? And so when I look at this one, are there 5 or 10 things you could tell somebody what to do with a mouse cursor in like 2 minutes? So it might be to resize it. It might be to change the color, change the actual icon itself, change the sound effects. A small collection of changes, so it becomes a bit more of a listicle. And maybe try that and make it like 1 minute 30 to 2 minutes, just as an idea. We do have this one here, which is performing a little bit better. And maybe it's because there's a couple of things that you're talking about, all of the new features in Windows. So I would just be experimenting with a video length here, or making YouTube shorts. But I think you probably want to keep it as landscape tutorial content. Dan, I'd love your thoughts on that. I mean, I know you have experience making short landscape content.
Yeah.
Would you argue that what I'm saying is wrong, or is there an element of truth to that?
These days I wouldn't. Remember when they said the shorts algorithm, when they first started implementing shorts, it thought because of the way shorts were behaving, YouTube as a whole thought, oh, everyone likes short videos now. And so short videos suddenly had this like upsurge, specifically short videos were getting spread a lot. So YouTube did say they corrected that. I've been noticing when I do short landscape videos, while I've had plenty of successes still to this day, my more successful stuff, if I'm going to upload something under a minute, has usually been in shorts rather than short, long form content. So I'm kind of wondering if back in the day I was benefiting from that error, if you will, in the YouTube algorithm, and now it's corrected itself. And because people do like, if they're going to be looking for long form content, they do like content that's going to kind of like be bringing them through a bit of a process. So if you're gonna learn about mouse cursors, what else is there to know about mouse cursors? So I see what you're saying. Like maybe you can stuff that video with a few more tips and tricks. So yeah, it's something like I was thinking about this just yesterday. So it's something I want to test a little bit more. just short landscape videos that are not under a minute long, because that's kind of my thing. I like to make them really, really short, and that's not working as well as it used to.
Final question. Thumbnails, they're very simple, very clean, very functional. Are there any changes you'd make to these, Dan, as they are?
Yeah. Okay. Two things. Green on blue and blue on blue. So their background color choice isn't great because it doesn't contrast well enough with the foreground. That's a nitpick, something easy enough to fix. And then I would say you are putting too much information in terms of text with the thumbnail.
I agree. Yeah.
If you're going to have a mouse cursor that is red, it is not normally red. All you need is maybe another arrow pointing to that mouse cursor. I know it's kind of already an arrow, but I'm just using that as an example. And some big bold text that says change color or do this. Yeah. Like try to challenge yourself to put no more than 2 words in your thumbnails. And it really changes the way you think about thumbnails. And then you're like, oh, the words, they're not taking up enough space. Cool. Make them bigger, make them bolder. And then if you have even more dead space, take that arrow, point it at the thing. Like just the thumbnails will be way more approachable without all this text.
The last thing I will suggest for this creator is our good friend Liron Segev, who is a alumni here at vidIQ. He has, I'm not going to say the exact same channel, but he does occasionally cover tech solutions for computers. And like, he does have listicles sometimes, like, why is everyone changing these 8 Chrome settings? Delete these garbage Windows files. And those are listicles. They're a lot longer. I'm not saying that you just make content very similar to this, but he has had success with listicle computer software tutorials. So maybe take some lead from him. And I'm just curious, as we go back to the channel, they had 1 subscriber. Hey, I thought somebody would subscribe to the channel while we were auditing this channel. So there you are. You've increased your subscriber count by 100% by just watching this live stream. Well done to you, sir. All right, next channel. I have a bit of a confession to make. We had Heather from Think Media on last week, and I promised that if you lot memed Dan, Heather, and myself as Caped Crusaders, we would audit one of your channels. And I completely forgot to do that. So I am fulfilling my promise a week later. And the winner was Commissar Vodka, who just stuck some maths on us. And Dan, it looks like, are you Robin? Is that what Robin would wear? Well, I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I don't know.
You are
I'm generic off-brand Batman.
You are generic superhero, yes.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure what's happened to Heather's eyes. I hope she gets well soon regarding that. And yeah, that's me. I would say that's the Christopher Nolan Batman mask thing.
It seems that way.
Yeah. Let's review a channel now. I'm gonna have to review this next channel using Christian Bale's voice only. So Dan, Vodka Reality, 50 subscribers. Where is he?
I can't do this. Okay. So they're playing Resident Evil. They're streaming Resident Evil. Stream. So they've done 4 streams now in a row. Very close together, it looks like. It looks like they streamed 17 hours ago. Then 2 hours later, they streamed again. So kind of switching games.
What do you think that tells you about the content?
Well, what do you mean?
My suspicion here is that they are
they left Twitch.
Maybe not. They left Twitch. Maybe is a planning going into these sessions, or if they're just saying, I'm playing this game and I'm just going to press go live at the same time and see what happens. Too much content, too much live streaming content in 24 hours. Those are the questions that are popping up in my head.
I could see that. Maybe they planned out their day. Like, I'm going to play Boneworks in the morning, and then I'm going to my lunch, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to play Resident Evil 2, and that's my day done on YouTube. So that could be what's going on. I'm less concerned about that. I think with live streaming, you can be pretty flexible like that. I'm more concerned about the long form content they're doing in between live streams, or the VODs, I should say, in between live streams. They've done 2, it looks like. They've tested out a couple different Resident Evil ones, and they've tried some interesting titles. VR Zombie Doggos, I Can't Take This, and the other one is VR Highlights, which probably, I have to imagine, didn't go too far because it was such a recent, or such an early video that with a title that was kind of unremarkable. So I think what would help them, you mentioned planning, is not only planning the live streams themselves, like what are you trying to do in each live stream, which it looks like, let me read these titles real quick. We're in the sewers now. So yeah, they're just kind of playing Resident Evil VR, and they're trying to put some interesting like spin on the title, but it's kind of vague. It doesn't really say what the goal is for the live stream. I'd be looking into focusing up each individual live stream, but more so, how can you then take these clips and make them work for you when you're not live? That's the benefit of streaming on YouTube. So capturing stuff and then uploading it after the fact, there's a few ways to do it. The nicest way to do it is if you have capture software running while you're live streaming and it's also recording. So then you get nice high quality footage. The other way to do it, though, is when the live stream's over, you can download it from YouTube, from the back end of your channel, and then you can edit that. But it's going to be really compressed. So it's going to look eh. Another way to do it that I would recommend you try, if you have some funny moments, go to the front page of YouTube, click on your video, and underneath your video on mobile is a shorts icon. And you can actually clip your short, like clip a short out of that live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I don't know if it's implemented yet, but something that YouTube is trying to do is that when you do that, the YouTube short will link to the original live stream. So you can imagine someone finding your short and it ends in kind of a funny way, and they're like, I want to see more. In theory, there should be a button for the user to click to go to the actual live stream when this happened, and they can actually view the whole thing in full context. So I don't know if that's a thing yet, but it's something YouTube wants to do, and it might be something that you start practicing doing. But there are ways to repurpose your live stream content, and that's one thing I would be doing to kind of like, help the channel grow while you're not live. Because with this strategy you're doing right now, it kind of depends on you being live in order to grow.
Thumbnails maybe a little too dark, a little too load screeny generic, a little too distracting. Channel icon just stuck somewhere on the thumbnail.
Yeah, the channel icon being there is very busy. It doesn't look like anything. It just looks like a smudge on the thumbnail in this form, how small it is. And then you just kind of use the game's logo to tell the story, but there's not a lot of like, we just want to see two things. I want to see the person with a VR headset on one half of the thumbnail, and I want to see a reference to the game they're playing on the other half. And that can be anything. I would say as a zombie or a bad guy or something jumping out, and so you're wearing the headset and you're like, that could be a really engaging, entertaining thumbnail. But these thumbnails seem very like, I don't know, that's just something they need to kind of practice. It's a skill they need to hone.
And to jump into the video content for a second, you're playing a survival horror game, okay? And those dogs look scared. There's stuff coming after you. You typically, for VR content, you want to see the reaction of a person playing the game, and we're not seeing that in this content as I can see it. There's also a TikTok watermark there as well. So
yeah, it's kind of strange.
You can film in landscape on TikTok now.
I think the reason it's all shaky like that is because maybe they cropped it or I don't know. Maybe they uploaded it. You know how people put the big black bars, they crop in and then they cropped out to put it on YouTube. I don't know.
Oh, I missed something.
So I can hear him narrating his adventures, but we're not seeing his reactions. And
yeah,
I think especially in survival horror content and especially in VR, you want to see the person with all of the action. So I'm not saying you need to do this next video, but there are a lot of creators who already do this. There's probably tutorials on how to record yourself playing a VR how to record yourself playing VR.
Yeah.
To get ideas on how you may want to record that in the future.
There's the most engaging VR streams and videos that I've seen, like you're saying, they have a camera in the corner of the person who's just standing in their room doing all the actions. And those are like the most entertaining VR streams. And what they do, I think it's really important in VR because what it does is if people are starting to get a little bit dizzy watching the video shake back and forth with your head, then they can at least look at the camera for a minute and watch you to try and just reorientate themselves with time and space. But I find myself doing that when I watch VR content.
Now, have you heard, Dan, of Boneworks?
I have heard of Boneworks. This is supposed to be like a really insane VR game.
Apparently, I only learned this yesterday. There's an update called Bone Labs, which is being released on the Quest.
That's what I've heard of. Sorry, it was
Yeah, it's being released like in 2 days, and people are saying that it's going to transform the VR landscape because I think it's open world modding environment where people can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
But people on the Quest 2 can access it. So I'm tentatively looking forward to this. I think I'm just going to buy it on Thursday and start playing with it. I'm not going to do any modding myself, but
I want to see the tools to see what kind of entry level is there. What's the entry point for someone who wants to go in and mod this thing? And you know what? If you're a VR content creator and you have these skills, there's your next channel. There's your next video series. Learn how to help people understand what they can do in Bone Labs, because if it's going to be that open, that means there's a lot of space for content creators to just completely come in there and teach all sorts of cool things.
It's like super hot right now. All this content is from like days ago. And apparently you can on the fly transform your avatar from like a tiny person who can run really fast to like a big giant with really long arms. And your attributes change in real time as well. So it looks exciting. We'll see what happens there. And the reason Dan and I just jumped into this video to look at the VR zombie doggos is because when Dan is our host tomorrow, that's primarily what we do. We don't look at thumbnails or titles. We look at the videos themselves and critique production quality, video hooks. Like, are you sending the creator to somewhere next? Are you saying thanks for watching? And you'll see me comically die on the live stream whenever I hear that. So yeah, make sure to check us out tomorrow. I think Dan at exactly the same time.
Yep.
Whenever that is. You know, if you come back tomorrow to the vidIQ channel, we will be live once again.
Yep. So
that fulfills my promise to look at the memes from last week, and Vodka Reality was the channel we audited. The next one we're going to look at is Ed. Are we all not operators? I am totally confused by that channel name. But what I can see from the channel banner and the thumbnails is that this is about model railways. Dan, tell us more.
Yeah, I thought that the channel focus here was pretty cool. This is a hobby that is really in depth, really expensive to get into, and also really cool. You can people who like model trains don't just like model trains; they like model scenery, and there are some incredible landscapes. You can already see it in the thumbnails. What you're seeing in the latest video, by the way, that's not a town. It's not like a legit town. That's hand built, so it especially from farther away, it looks hyper realistic. And I just think that this is a cool space to be in. What it made me want to do is look around on YouTube to see how big this niche is.
When you, I mean, I'm sure everybody's been to a miniature model museum at some point. There's people who just build this in their spare rooms, don't they? With contract. So what were you wanting me to search for, Dan?
So just model trains, I guess. I don't know where I'd even start.
Oh.
So yeah, we just typed in model trains and we're seeing some pretty general titles and thumbnails here. But largest model railroad, that seems to be a term that comes up a lot. The bigger the better. And we got hundreds of thousands of views on these. So there's definitely an audience for this. That one has over 1 million views. There's definitely an audience for this on YouTube. So I guess looking at our hero channel again, the one thing we notice immediately about their titles is...
What is that?
Yeah. It looks like they're series. They're doing episode numbers. Track on 28, track on 29, track on 30.
So that is not a term that's familiar to YouTube whatsoever. If I do search for it, I get this, which is try on hauls, it looks like.
Right. So this channel gets to benefit from my favorite gaming channel advice, and that is to drop the episode numbers.
Yeah.
And ask yourself this. If I'm going to watch the 14-minute video called Track on 32, and then everything else you put after it, do I need to see the video before it to appreciate the video, the subsequent video, 32? Do I have to watch 31? If that's, and 31's a short, by the way, which is not the same flow on YouTube. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
Some of your episodes are shorts, and if it's a progressive series, it's really hard to follow when you're switching from short to long, but I'll get to that in a second. If I have to watch 31 to understand 32, is there anything you can do to make that barrier to entry less for me? Because what if you get 100 episodes in and I'm really interested, but I'm just not ready to go back through your back catalog of content? If that's the case, find a way to make sure that me as a new viewer feels welcome there. And the way to not do that is to put episode numbers at the very front of the title. So if you have to put those, put them in the description, put them at the very end of the title. I would recommend getting rid of them altogether. I don't want you thinking of your content in terms of episode numbers. Each video can stand on its own.
So if it doesn't look as if there's any narration that needs to tell us what happened before or what's going to happen next. So in terms of progression of content, there is no, I guess there's no storytelling here, Dan. So
right,
having episode numbers seems completely redundant.
It does. And maybe every video the town comes together more or something. But even then, I would say you still don't need the episode numbers to like tell people that. So is there a host to this channel, or is it always fixed camera, trains going by?
So I guess that might be another challenge we would suggest for creator change. Can you do multiple camera angles, even if it's just this one scene? Like you may want to, after 15 seconds, put your camera up here on top of this building. So you're showing the same scene, but from a different angle to keep the viewer's interest. I'd be fascinated to know what the audience retention is here.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't think there necessarily needs to be a person that's taking you through this or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I do think that, multiple camera angles is going to be essential here. I want to see more of this town. I want to see different train cars from different perspectives. I would be making that investment into this content myself. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence, Dan, but all of the shorts that don't have the episode number, they start with a more of a curious title, are performing better from what I can see.
This seems like good shorts content in general. Like model trains are still kind of niche. And if a person who knows what they are, but doesn't necessarily seek that, gets that in their short shelf, I imagine they watch. They're like, wow, this is kind of cool. These things are detailed. Different audience though.
But unfortunately, Dan, according to YouTube's new requirements, there are still 9.5 million views short of monetization.
So close. Oh, so close. I would like to see them continue to do shorts. Probably the way they're doing them is just fine. Maybe if those camera angles could not hurt with shorts, I'd keep them maybe 15 seconds, just like really short. It's enough to kind of get the context. Oh, cool city, cool trains, throw a couple camera angles in there. Boom, short done. You could even pair it with some trending music. So this is kind of cool. There's stuff happening. One train came in, another train came in. I would have already changed the camera angle twice, though.
At this point, I would have cut to the camera being there and the train going over the camera. I know it's impossible because you don't have a camera that's small enough to do that. But something, as you say, switch your camera around at some point. I've kind of, even for a short, I've kind of got bored of this. I'm happy to see like a close up of these caterpillars going past, but from a different camera angle.
Right. So I think they should continue doing shorts, but for their long form content, look at when we just typed in model trains, look how interesting those titles and thumbnails were. The largest model train, whatever. Like if you feel like you have a setup that could give somebody a run for their money, slap the word largest on it. Like make a video touring this thing, like appreciate that the long form audience is different than the short form audience. Right now I'd say all of your content is really good for shorts in that content that just kind of shows a unique thing or an interesting thing for a little bit of time is great. But one video, 14 minutes long, that stays fixed with one camera angle for the entire time, that's just not going to cut it in long form content. I think the demand there is going to be a lot more intrigue. So I would be drawing inspiration from other model train channels, and there's an audience for this. We saw a video with over 1 million views. So it seems like you have a setup worth showing off. Start taking people through it.
We are almost an hour in. So folks, if you are enjoying this live stream, this time I would like you to grade it through the magic of star emojis. So if it's 5 stars, this is the blockbuster movie of the summer. You bring all your friends to it with popcorn, give us a 5-star. If you just think it's fine and okay, you're still going to stick around, give us a 1-star. Whatever the case, we still have a likes problem. There's 650 people watching right now. We have 560 likes. That is unacceptable. That needs to be fixed. We need more likes than viewers by the end of this live stream. And how that's going to be helped is by auditing more channels. And so the next one we'll look at is RTD Adventures. They have crossed 500 subscribers, so they have access to the community tab. And they are on the road to Disney without using Disney logos or icons, which it was always a challenge for Disney channels. I get this feeling that Disney comes crashing down with copyright claims and all sorts for Disney channels, because I see this quite often.
Disney, like, it's weird because vloggers and stuff at theme parks seem to have an interesting relationship with Disney. I think Disney likes them. I think Disney wants influencers in their parks talking about how great their parks are. So there are channels that make like really successful careers out of this.
But they don't want logos on channel banners.
I wouldn't steal their logo. That's for sure. I don't think they necessarily did, but they're definitely using that very suggestive font in their banner. So just be careful with that. They're using a lot of suggestive fonts, like the Super Breakfast, the Marvel font there. They're probably fine. I expect they're probably okay. I picked this channel because I like channels like this. I think if you have access to the parks, there's so much content you could make. A lot of it's very enjoyable. And one of the ideas, as soon as I saw this channel, and the reason I ended up picking it, because I wanted to share this idea with them and maybe help inspire everyone here too. Right now, there is a hurricane barreling towards Florida. And as such, Disney is having to refund tickets and all that stuff. So I'm getting pushed stories about it because I read a lot about Disney parks, and it's like, yeah, Disney's having to like waive fees and do all this stuff. So I kind of wonder if there's an opportunity for you to tell people, like, you make a couple videos. You could say, like, should you stay in Disney with Hurricane Ian on the way or whatever? That could be one quick video, like, no, evacuate. Or you can make a video that's a little more evergreen, but tends to spike in popularity when there's a hurricane, like how Disney handles hurricanes or something to that effect. So basically, yeah, Disney ticket refunds. So whenever something like this happens, people are probably searching like, oh gosh, I just spent like $10,000 on this trip. What's going to happen to my tickets? What's going to happen to my hotel reservations? I have to leave now. And I'm sure you know the answer to that as somebody who's at the parks a lot. So these are just a couple ideas of more general videos that you can make on your channel that could help somebody who's thinking about having a Disney trip, or they have one currently like scheduled and things are going wrong. As a larger lesson here, just be thinking about your audience. Like, who are these videos for? Probably people who are planning a trip one day, who just love learning about the parks and all the updated things that are happening. And sometimes it seems like that person is kept in mind with some of these videos, and sometimes the videos seem to kind of flop. They miss the mark. And so this is the direction I'd like this creator to start thinking.
Judging from the most popular videos, these videos are reaching out to audiences who are thinking about travel into Disneyland, and they want general tips. They want their questions answered. So you're doing well with listicles, where there's the essential things you must bring, the top 10 mistakes you should never make at Disney. 10 mistakes seems to be a good one. Like, imagine if you could go through all of the theme parks, with the mistakes you shouldn't make. Then maybe narrow it down to rides, like the 10 mistakes you make going on this ride. You shouldn't go at this time, or you shouldn't You shouldn't go just after the weather's been really bad, or you shouldn't go when it looks like it's going to rain because you might, all of those things that you can think of. So you go from the theme park to the rides to maybe individual shops, so on. Your audience is lapping this up. Now, just to plug one of our tools a little bit here, what you might want to try and do here is go to our web app and then keywords. Just type in Disneyland. That is your master keyword, so to speak. And what this should hopefully do is generate a ton of questions about what you can do at Disneyland. I think the first one is hilarious. Are you brave enough to go to Disneyland Paris? What's wrong with Disneyland Paris? Who knows?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think there is a potential opportunity to generate tons of different questions. Like what Disneyland park is better? You could do comparisons. Or what to eat at Disneyland. So, the 10 mistakes you could do eating at Disneyland. Should you go with pre-packed food, or should you go to this particular place at this particular time? There are almost, I would say, an unlimited number of ideas, and you've already covered some of them. I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you go like deep into something very specific, the videos don't tend to perform as well. Does the future of Disneyland look promising? Is the average viewer asking that question?
Right.
Would be my thought. Are they interested in a specific super breakfast at the Avengers campus? Maybe they are, but I think those are the type of niche topics you can cover when you got 10, 20,000 subscribers who are watching your content, and you have enough of a core audience to sustain those videos. But I think for me right now, I would be spending the next year just answering the big questions, doing all of these really helpful listicles, and building your community and audience. So you get to 1,000 subscribers, then you can start earning back from ad revenue and putting it back into the channel.
Yeah, it's the same with a lot of channels, the gaming channels, for example. Like you start broad, you answer the big pressing questions that everybody has, right? And then you can kind of get more and more specific. And even when you get specific, like the latest video about the super breakfast, what if instead of this one super breakfast that isn't probably going to be a very hot search term, you said the 5 newest foods at Disneyland or something like that? Like make it a listicle and include that as like your favorite one or whatever. But when you're planning that content, when you're going to the park to actually like film it, like think, okay, what else is new right now? Can I make this a video about new updates? People like update videos across all sorts of niches. So, I think that video would have done a lot better if it was pitched a different way. The future of Disneyland does look promising. Instead of that, a great opportunity there is to throw your opinion. The future of Disneyland doesn't look promising. The future of Disneyland looks very bright. Because people are going to ask why, and they're going to click on your video to learn more.
My guess is that all of the videos I'm circling in green are attracting new viewers, while all of the ones I'm circling in red are bringing back your return viewers, people who already know your content is valuable, and so they'll return. So you just have to make a decision about how often do you want to build your audience with broader content versus those really niche questions and topics that your existing audience is going to enjoy. Because I think all of the videos are getting a decent amount of views. Hell, if I had 500 subscribers, I would be satisfied with 230 views and 177 views. But when you're getting more views than subscribers, that's always a good indication that you've managed to pitch the video in such a way that YouTube knows what the content is about, and it's testing it with new audiences. And that's a brilliant place to be in, given your channel size.
Update on the rating for our live stream. I did a poll. So it looks like 78% of folks here think our live stream is 5 stars.
Yeah.
And only 22% think it's 5 stars.
Jeez.
I know.
Well, sorry about that, folks.
We'll do better. We'll do better.
We should do a poll at some point, Dan, which says, in a voting poll, where do you prefer to vote, top or bottom? And see if people actually try and break it by voting most. Yeah, I think I might do this afternoon, actually.
We need something on the community tab. Yeah.
The conspiracy theory here is that it doesn't matter what type of voting poll you put on. If all of the options are fairly similar, people will just choose the top result irrespective of what we're talking about. Anyway, that is RTD Adventures. Let's move on to the next channel. They call themselves Chigwig ASMR. They're telling us to get some sleep, and presumably by watching/listening to your content, you're going to help us get the sleep that we all need in life. Dan, first impressions just on the thumbnails and like the pitch here. Do you think they're doing a good job?
I think so. Thumbnails look really sharp, really clean.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, yeah, I think they're trying a few different types of ASMR. I'm seeing like sponges they're rubbing against the microphone in one. So they're trying a lot of different things, kind of building up a catalog of ASMR videos. This is like always a space that I'm very like unfamiliar with. It's a tough one to I imagine a tough one to crack, you know, and it's a tough one to audit because it's like, what is the niche ASMR? Is there, you know, different types of ASMR that you could be pursuing, or should you be doing instruments and then household objects and all sorts of things?
Yeah, I did have that question as well, because I assumed from the channel banner that this was maybe a specific type of ASMR, which is to make you fall asleep, as opposed to maybe reducing your stress. Or I don't know, there may be some ASMR which is supposed to elevate your level of excitement. And I don't feel as if the thumbnails and the titles necessarily follow that one trend of helping you get to sleep, because you would expect each one to be maybe exactly 15 minutes. Because I'm sure there was one that was titled, this will set you to sleep in 15 minutes. Yeah. That one seems to follow exactly the value proposition of a channel, whereas all of the other ones are moving through different mindsets. And, you know, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that.
Right.
But a promise was made in a channel banner. I see one video about it, and then it's not followed up. So maybe that's where you started your channel, but it's changed a little bit in terms of your delivery. And I did want to focus on this one, Dan. I think this is a perfect example of how you should do a short. And that's it. It just loops around.
Yeah.
Just a pretty, you know, no nonsense there. Just the text for the sound effect. The sound effect is half a second, and it moves on to the next thing. His longer videos tend to be like a little bit of a conversation. You know, he's speaking into the microphone like this in the ASMR mode, and then doing some sound effects. So it's the stuff that you've seen the stuff you've seen before in the ASMR genre on YouTube. So it just means that they're in a crowded space as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be looking at channels who are newer to this space, but are still having like some success. Might be hard to find them, but I would be doing my research there, because this has been like a niche on YouTube for a while now, and it's not going anywhere. I don't think it's necessarily dead, quote unquote dead, but I do think that there's probably a different way to grow now because it's so populated with creators.
It's almost like you have to do a search term for ASMR and then, excuse me, go through the list until you find, because look at all of these channels. They're all massive, 200,000, 15,000, 4 million, 20,000. Where is the channel of 2022 that's probably still under 1,000 subscribers that's finding success? And I'm not seeing it. You know, I'm scrolling well down the list, and it's just there's a lot of competition in this space, isn't there?
Yeah. And this is the kind of research you'd want to do to try and break out, you know, to really try and like stand out amongst the crowd. You kind of need to see what's working for people today, what isn't working so much. Because
okay,
they're sorry.
I've my last hour now to see if I can find any Windows opportunity. It's still massive channels. Wow, it is super competitive.
Yeah. Like there was one about shaving. Like when you look at all of their content, are they kind of focused on the same type of ASMR content? But I want to see that from the larger channels, I guess.
Anyway, let's go back to the channel here. So we're posting on a cadence of like 2 or 3 videos a week, which is good. You know, and for the channel size, again, I think volume of views is pretty solid. You're looking at 200, 500, 600. So that's all relatively solid. In terms of most popular, you know, I'd say for a channel that's just under 1,000 subscribers and your highest viewed video is 10,000 views, your highest viewed long form piece of content is 4,000 views, you're in a very good position in terms of building gradually a sustainable audience. You've not had any super viral moments that are skewing the numbers. So I think that's a good sign. But again, like this video here, presumably was appealing somewhat to video game enthusiasts because you were using controllers.
Right.
That's very clear in a thumbnail. Whereas perhaps on other ones, is it as clear? Like, yeah, there used to be this thing in the 1990s, Dan, where with wrestling, every wrestler would have a job gimmick. So there would be like a hockey player, or there was a garbage truck wrestler. There was another one who was like a mafia boss, and there was another one who was a truck driver. I'm wondering if you could almost apply the same idea, whereby this ASMR is going to focus on cooking sounds. This one is going to focus on, you know, I'm an IT technician, and these are all of the sounds that I go back through my life. You know, there's a musician one here. It's like musical ASMR. Just thinking of different ideas. I'm a chemist, so I fill up all of these beakers, and if this is what a Bunsen burner sounds like, just a crazy idea I'm thinking of here.
So buy every video game controller on the market,
Yeah.
and yeah, video game product ASMR. You know, you could do the blowing in an N64 cartridge. You could.
You know, apparently that just damaged your cartridge whenever you did that.
Because what, spitting all over your video games did them dirty? That was a thing you shouldn't do.
Yeah, that's definitely a generational video gamers thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
blowing a cartridge. What? I just downloaded it. Why do I need to blow on anything? Oh dear. Thumbnails, I think they're of a generally very high standard. Wouldn't you say? Like, focusing on the microphone, bit of text used here and there, but used very effectively. So some good pointers here from this channel for all other creators to take lessons from.
Yeah.
Got a whisper all 151 Metallica songs. Interesting idea. Oh, Grand Theft Auto ASMR.
Nothing relaxing about.
I'd love to listen to it, but it's probably not going to be appropriate for our live stream. All right. I think that is all of our pre-selected channels. But just before we move on to our random selection, we want to let you know that we have an incredible offer going on right now here at vidIQ, which is going to expire, I think, within the next 24 hours. And that is vidIQ Boost, which is all of our tools here at vidIQ. And it's currently 50% off for 2 months. So usually you would pay X amounts, but for the next 2 days, if you take advantage of this offer, you will pay 0.5, 50% of what you would usually pay. And just to give you an idea of some of the tools that you will be able to use, daily ideas. You may have noticed, but I have been slaving away over the last week, making as many videos as humanly possible about the YouTube monetization updates. And what vidIQ is doing in the background, whenever you make content, is analyzing the content that you make and then suggesting ideas based off of those videos. So right now, as you can see, vidIQ is suggesting more monetization suggestions. The YouTube monetization official update 2023. You're about to make more money, possibly. YouTube 2023, the big monetization update you won't want to miss. So YouTube, vidIQ knows where we're at the moment. I'm making more monetization videos. I'm making one straight after this live stream. vidIQ is right on the money with all of these ideas about our YouTube education channel. Brilliant. If you were a gaming channel, it would tell you to do different gaming ideas depending on what game you play. If you're an ASMR channel, I'm sure it would be giving you ASMR suggestions. So if that is the daily ideas tool, you get 50 suggestions every single day. That is included in vidIQ Boost. What if you need some help editing your videos? Well, let's say Dan and I do a collaboration on the YouTube algorithm, and we need to make this video about the YouTube algorithm curious and clickable in terms of its title. Well, we'll just use the Get AI title recommendation tool here, and it will suggest 5 different titles. How to manipulate your YouTube channel to play the best algorithm. You won't believe how the YouTube algorithm is affecting your videos, why the YouTube algorithm is changing, and how to prepare for it. So it's creating curiosity here. The fear of missing out. The algorithm has changed. This is what you need to do to prepare for it. And, it's not just on YouTube education ideas. If you're a gaming channel, if you're a beauty channel, tech channel, travel channel, you would just add 1 or 2 keywords and it would create some really intriguing titles. You can do this at the beginning of the video production process, or you can do it just as you're uploading. Entirely up to you. And then you've got to decide what thumbnail you're going to use. We talk about thumbnails a lot here at vidIQ. I've just uploaded this one here. Let's pretend that this was going to match my talk about the YouTube algorithm. Like before, you would be getting not that many views, but with the algorithm changes, and if you follow these changes and you make content that aligns with those changes, you're going to get far more views. That's the idea of a thumbnail. How does it stack up against the competition? Now, in truth, Dan, I would say that the top thumbnail here from Nate, a friend of vidIQ. Let's get it off. Would you say that Nate's thumbnail is probably still a little bit better than ours in terms of advertising the YouTube algorithm?
There's something about it. There's definitely something about it.
I like it. So if I see that thumbnail and say, you know what, I think that video thumbnail about the YouTube algorithm is better than ours, I might go back to the drawing board and maybe change up our thumbnail, because all of this is done before you even publish the video. That's the advantage here. You're getting a comparison of your content versus the competition before you even press publish. And that is a video thumbnail preview tool. And those are just 3 of the tools that you get with vidIQ Boost, which is currently 50% off for 2 months. So check the link in the video description. That will automatically apply the promo code to the pricing plan for this offer. It is available for new customers, and it is for vidIQ Boost only, not available on Pro or Max. But this offer is running out very, very soon. I think by the end of tomorrow. So if you want to act and get your discounts, act fast and take advantage of those tools. But for now, Dan, I think it's time for a little bit of this. Everyone's favorite part of a live stream, where you could be randomly selected to be audited over the next 45 minutes or so. This is the current state we are in. The 2 forms have been battered with submissions. We've got 545 submissions on a non-gaming channel form. We've got 513 submissions on the gaming form. So we want to make sure that you're all included in the selections. So this is how we do it. We make sure that this number is picking up all of them. So we'll play it safe. We'll do 575 as our number. We'll start picking from this collection of balls. We come out with the first number, which is 83. I think since we haven't done that many gaming channels so far, that's where we'll start. We type the number into the form. We grab the channel URL, which hopefully you've put in correctly. And now we're looking at channels with no preconceived ideas whatsoever. The question I ask myself whenever I visit a channel is, do I know I'm in the right place within 10 seconds of looking at the channel banner, the thumbnails, and the titles, to get that instant recognition, that aha moment, that feeling from the viewer that tells themselves, yes, this video was made for me. This channel was made for my needs. So calling card with their 11 subscribers. Am I in the right place? Well, I'm seeing some Call of Duty stuff, but I'm also seeing these thumbnails about what is this? Team Moist? Omega Stalkers? That looks like a different game. We've also got what looks to be a Fortnite thumbnail. Cult of the Lamb. Is that a game?
Yeah, that's
It's
definitely a totally different game. Nothing like the first-person shooters in this channel. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, I'm unclear. This channel is going to be about first-person shooters, whether it's going to be about fun online sports games or whatever that is. I haven't even got to the point of thinking about whether this is let's play entertainment tutorials. And so from a viewer's point of view, all of this time spent trying to decode the channel is time they're not watching content or moving on to something else.
Yeah. Yep. This is kind of classic. A lot of gaming channels who are here right now listening, just, if this looks anything like your channel, if you have multiple games, if you have videos that sometimes get 0 views, all of the advice I'm giving this channel would absolutely apply to you as well.
Sure.
The first thing that you need to do is determine who you want to make content for. And to do that, you need to first admit to yourself the kind of content you would prefer to make.
Yeah.
Out of all the games you're playing, which one is the one you're most passionate about? The one you feel like is your favorite game? If you could only pick one game to make YouTube videos about for the rest of your days, which one would it be? And then once you have that game figured out, the next thing you have to do is some market research. Are people making videos about this game today? And do they get views? Is there an audience for the game that you've selected? And if the answer to that is yes, then it's time to go in and go, okay, how can I differentiate myself? What can I do to stand out? And then the final bit of research you need to do there is hanging out in the communities where the people who play this game hang out, and look for the things that bother them the most, and then answer their questions and solve their problems with videos on your channel. You're not going to go back and tell them, oh, I made a video about that. No. The point is, if people on the subreddit for Call of Duty are constantly complaining about this issue, you can bring it to light a little bit more by just explaining what it is. You can talk about ways around the problem. There's a lot of different videos you can make just by hanging out in the communities of the people who play these games. But if you're going to play 10 different games in your channel, you're never going to have the time to sit down and focus and put yourself in the shoes of the viewer that you're trying to focus on, because you're focusing on too many viewers all at the same time.
Now, just as a comparison, one of the channels we looked at earlier, although their channel name was very confusing, you could tell instantly what this channel is about: model railways. And then you can determine as a viewer whether I'm going to stick around or not. Whereas we're still looking at this channel, figuring out what the creator wants to do.
Yeah.
So Dan has made an excellent video about this. I think it's, what would it be?
Every day.
Every day, that's the one.
Yeah.
Every day, bro. Check out this video where Dan creates an imaginary viewer with specific likes and needs as a viewer. And you want to think a little bit more about your ideal viewer for your channel. Like, they watch video A on your channel, what is video B going to be? What are they likely to watch next? And that's where you follow the thread of your audience.
I am working in the background, just in my own free time, on my own pivot strategy for a gaming channel, because we're always telling gaming channels to play one game, but that's not sustainable in the long term, especially if your game has kind of an expiration date. And wait for the video that we make pretty much annually at this point about how to start a gaming channel, because I'm going to reveal some of my findings in my own journey in pivoting a channel. And I'll tell you this, I'm finding some success actually switching a channel that was focused on one game and having it focus on multiple games. It is possible, but you have to build your audience first. You can't just start like that and expect to get results unless you have a really, really solid plan.
Next, we are looking at the Mal Ever Havoc Style King. And I look at this channel and I am just What? These thumbnails are incredibly busy. But I think they are maybe animations about certain games or Roblox, a Roblox mod, perhaps.
Yeah, it's really this one's definitely an animation channel, but
you know when you say, and I'm not meaning this for this specific channel. You know when you say something is something that's so unfunny, it's funny. This channel is so out there that it's interesting. You know, it's so random and chaotic that maybe there is something interesting because, you know, they have 250 subscribers and the view counts are fairly consistent. But I wouldn't be able to tell what the videos are about from the thumbnails alone, because a lot of them are almost rainbow vomit animation, color scheme wise.
I mean, Jonk was a good example of this. Someone who's making simple like animation, videos, right? And doing okay, but really saw success when they put a recognizable face in their content. They got on a trending topic and about another YouTube creator and blew up, like totally blew up. And you have that opportunity in this content too. I think as an animator, you could make an animation that's based around something that's trending or something like that. But if you do that, the key is going to be that it looks recognizable to the people who are scrolling by. And right now it's really hard to focus on any one part of any of these thumbnails. It's really hard to tell what's going on. So I would be working on that because maybe they do jump on trending topics, but I would just never know that from the thumbnails and a lot of the titles as well.
I don't know what I'm getting into in any of these, Dan, but let's go with Sea Cleaning Simulator Roblox. But
oh no, okay.
Oh, was that an intro?
I guess that was an intro.
Oh, that sounds weird in my headphones.
Well, I need to clean it up.
What? Huh?
Now let's jump up. Look, that's how you get a boat. So if you jump into like the water or something.
That sounds like the audio is going through a speaker into a microphone underwater.
Yeah. It sounds like an effect they tried to put on the microphone, but only after they recorded it standing in the middle of like a big empty room. So it's really, really hard to hear. I'm also wondering, like, if they're trying to actually like show something in Roblox, isn't animation like the best way to do it? It seems like they're trying to help people like play the game, but it's forgive me for not quite understanding.
You are forgiven, Dan, because I'm more non-understanding than you probably.
And also pay KindMaster to take that logo off your videos. It's actually covering up a lot of pertinent information at times.
I think Flipper Clip is also another logo that's there.
And that one's tolerable to me. It's the KindMaster logo that's actually covering like text they were trying to put on the screen and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking for like a silicone I dropped off in the water. I probably lost it.
But it almost like
I know, but what are you doing here?
the actual voice acting doesn't sound too bad, but it's so distorted by whatever filter or recording system it's going through. It's quite confusing.
Yeah, the content feels like it's for somebody. It's just, is it approachable enough for a new viewer to click on that video and understand what's going on? Because we kind of just got thrown into it. There was a very confusing intro that was a bit long, and then when the video started, there was no real introduction into what we were going to have happen in the video. And it's actually, that's why the thumbnails are actually perfect, because you also don't know what you're getting from the outside looking in. Once you get in, you don't know what's happening. So I think content focus, if that's a term we can use, is needed here.
Yeah. The thumbnails have been like this for a good couple of months now. They seem to actually be getting more chaotic.
Yeah.
develops. And you know, maybe that is a theme that it's intentional. You want to have this chaotic look going forward. It is just going a little bit over our heads, I think, Dan and myself. But there are seeds of promise here.
I think so.
I would be happy with the current view counts, considering a number of improvements that could be made to the content.
Yeah, there's a lot of animation channels out there, a lot of channels to draw inspiration from.
Yeah.
And, I wish you luck.
Let's try channel 76 then from the gaming pile. This channel calls themselves terminated for violating Google's terms of service. Is that right?
It was a good run.
I hope this channel's not discovering this live as we order the channel. Let me just double confirm that. Yeah, we can't help you with this channel, unfortunately. We'll have to just move on to the next one.
Rest in peace, your channel.
Hopefully, you're not discovering this now. And maybe give us a wrong link or something.
F's in the chat.
Yeah, F in the chat there, unfortunately. Okay, let's try this one then. Zeda. They have 5,000 subscribers with mostly shorts, so they're getting a couple of thousand views. Let me just check. Do we have a standout viral piece of content? A couple that have got a lot of views. All of these look very similar, Dan.
Yeah.
Is it just an unfortunate clip that's always the same on every short?
I kind of wonder if they're changing the text, but using the same clip.
Yeah, let's find out, shall we?
The most expensive faces. Can you like and subscribe before I say goodbye?
Huh?
Goodbye.
You didn't show any faces.
There we go. They did all of the costs before the value of the content. It looks as if YouTube's just deciding
faces.
that.
Can you like and subscribe?
That music looped very seamlessly. I didn't realize it then. Interesting. So are they all exactly the same length then?
Roblox games that copied other games. Can you like and subscribe before I say goodbye? Goodbye.
The problem with these is that they're going to be pushed to brand new people who've never seen your content before, who think the video's over before it's begun because you say goodbye, and they're just going to swipe away. Like, you're asking them to subscribe, you've given them nothing, and then you say goodbye. So they're okay, bye. I think your strategy needs to completely change with shorts. You should focus on the value. The faces video is actually a great idea.
Right.
Don't ask people to subscribe. Don't ask anywhere in a short for somebody to subscribe. They will do it. YouTube has made the button nice, big, and red for you. You don't have to say a word. You will gain subscribers, and you're going to get way more views because your content is going to be even shorter and even quicker to the point than it is now. Because right now, it's basically just, oh, I'm going to ask you to subscribe first before you even know what the video is about. You have to look at the title. Ask yourself how many times you look at the title when you're scrolling through the short shelf. It's usually not often. A successful short will do a really good job of sucking you in without you even knowing what the title of it is.
True.
So these videos are requiring me to look at the title. There's too much thinking going on, and I'm way more likely to just swipe away than wait for you to even ask me to subscribe.
Now, a counter argument, Dan, just purely from the facts, is that these shorts are getting 1,000+ views in most cases.
A few of them, yeah.
They've gotten a good long run here in the last couple of weeks where every single one of them got more than 1,000 views.
Whenever I see that, though, I see the potential for 10,000 views, 30,000 views.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that they could have gotten that if they didn't have that ridiculously long call to action at the beginning. Because I think they have really good ideas. That face video is genuinely, I'm being serious, that's a good idea. The most expensive faces in Roblox, because Roblox is full of microtransactions like that.
Yeah.
It's genius. It's great.
So basically what Dan is saying
The most
here
expensive
is that the
faces.
video should start.
Can you like and subscribe before I say goodbye?
Should start.
Goodbye.
Should start there.
Yep.
With maybe a caption
Yep.
that says most expensive Roblox faces somewhere, but then you're showing all of the faces at the same time. And then maybe if you were going to do a call to action, it would be like a second at the very end.
Yeah.
So this would be the core of it. And then once it's done all of this,
The most expensive faces.
I say it just loops round back onto the beginning of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would have done the voiceover that says the most expensive faces, but the faces are already cruising by. They're already on the screen.
They've certainly got coming up with lots of ideas on a very frequent basis, Dan, and you seem to think that they're onto something with the ideas of almost like this listicle style of things that are happening in Roblox and why you might be interested in them.
Yeah.
Idea-wise and channel focus-wise, this is a gaming channel that's giving you Roblox facts 3 or 4 times a week. We know we're in the right place if we find this content interesting.
Absolutely. It reminds me a little bit of Block Facts. You're just showing something really quick using YouTube Shorts about people's favorite game. So, and Block Facts got millions of subscribers and never really asked for subscribers in the process.
Okay. Now we may have a problem here. Can you see? I asked the question, are you a gaming channel? You answered no. And you're telling me you're a Roblox tutorial news channel. So let's just confirm this. Rule is, if you don't fill out the form correctly, you will not get a channel audit. And this looks to be a gaming channel which is submitted on the wrong form. So I apologize, but you will not be audited. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that you didn't fill out the form correctly. Thank you, Dan. Hang on. I think we've already audited this channel. Check fast tutorials. Yeah, we've already done that one. Come on, ball picker. Give us 399. All right. We definitely will not have audited this channel. It looks to be a tech channel, and let's use this one. That's a reference point. Thanks, Dan. I finally managed to pick out a channel we can audit. Michael E. Tech. So I think they're doing coding content through shorts.
Interesting.
Although the shorts look like they are cartoons. Maybe these are cartoons about coding.
That'd be very interesting.
Let's try one of these. Should we just see what's going on here? Now, hang on. There was something I saw at the beginning of this short that concerned me. Well, I can see it there.
Okay.
Are you just clipping comics from this website and then putting them in a video editor to tell a story?
Yeah, that could get you into some trouble.
Not your content. Simply put, I would frown upon this, because you're taking somebody else's content and uploading it on your channel without what seems to be much transformational effort. Yeah, you're getting views, cool, but none of those views are associated with you as a content creator. And Dan, as you mentioned, we would be worried about this being reused content, repetitious content, possible copyright issues. What's the end goal of this channel? Because it's clearly not Python, a SQL, or coding anymore. It's uploading these comics, which might not be.
If we were to assume these are yours and you just want to put them somewhere, that a separate channel is what I would recommend. The description doesn't really tell us much either.
Yeah.
But if these are not yours, you should probably stop before somebody, you know, who holds the copyright makes you stop. Because that's going to probably take down your channel. You've got a lot of videos here that, you know, I worry, based on what we saw, might not be yours. We don't know.
We're not certain. We're not sure. Yeah, it feels as if this creator was like doing these tech tutorials, and they were getting bored and frustrated at the progress they weren't making. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'm just going to try this completely different thing. Oh, I'm getting loads of views on it now. I'm off to the races. But there's a reason for that. It's because, as I can see it, it's not your content, and as fellow content creators, we would frown upon this. We don't like other people's content being taken and used for your benefit without them knowing about this. If that's what's happening here, I have to continue to stress that.
The other problem too is you're attracting the wrong audience. In any case, you are getting a lot of views on these, so you're getting fans of this comic strip to subscribe to your channel, and YouTube is trying to do a better job now of recommending your long form videos to people who watch your shorts. But the long form videos have nothing to do with the shorts you're making, and so you're just bringing in the wrong audience. This is how you generate what's called dead subscribers. People who subscribe to your channel realize very quickly that they made a mistake, and they don't click on any more videos. They don't bother unsubscribing. They just kind of stop clicking, and then that's it. You never see them again.
These videos here are completely different to the shorts that you're uploading.
Yeah.
Irrespective of whether or not there's a copyright question going on here. So I think fairly simple situation that you need to resolve there. Let's look at the next gaming channel. There's 276 Viru Gaming. This looks like The Sims, just from the channel banner and the thumbnails, or a Sims mod. So that's a really good example of me working out what the channel is about very quickly to decide whether I'm not going to stay. I think there's some sort of vibe going on here. Would this be like, are they doing role play and drama within The Sims?
It does seem like it,
rather than builds or tutorials.
Yeah, that it does seem like that's what they're doing. So in this case, episodic content would make sense because you're probably telling a progressing story. What isn't going to work super well is depending on the name of your series to carry the series. So Rocks and Crystals. This is not like a Sims expansion pack or anything. It's the unique name you've given your series, and it's not going to be very like searchable. People aren't really going to know what it is. So it's your job to make the titles and the thumbnails in that case very clear. We have to kind of guess. Maybe it's a role play series. We don't really know. And you have to approach it from the perspective of, I want people who've never seen me before to watch this, who happen to like The Sims. So be a little more descriptive as to like what it is that you're doing. The 100 Baby Challenge is a very specific challenge.
What is that?
You never heard of that? Oh, it's
No.
very popular. The goal is to try and raise 100 babies in The Sims.
Is that possible before the avatar passes away?
I mean, I guess I have to watch and find out.
Oh my goodness.
It's a very popular challenge.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. But that's what The Sims is for. It's just being horrible. Horrible to fake people. So those are very clear videos. We know what we're going to get with those videos. But with your new series, which I'm sure is very creative, it needs to be pitched in a different way in order to attract that new audience you're trying to attract.
It looks as if these videos are multi-part as well. So like 2, 3, 4. I guess that was the start of the Rocks and Crystals challenge. Should we just play this and try and get
let's see if it's a challenge or role play.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be playing the first ever episode of The Sims 4 Rocks and Crystals challenge.
Oh,
okay, cool. So this is a challenge.
Right.
That makes it a little bit easier now. It's not something you made up. That's good. So in that case, I'm kind of wondering how popular this challenge is.
Yep.
Because it should be, they have some videos that got some views, doing more popular challenges.
I guess that's your answer. If they're ranking the top 2, how is that possible, Dan? How can that same channel, different channel avatar? What's going on there?
It's 2 different channels.
Is it?
Look at the subscribe numbers. No,
Same channel name.
can you click on both?
I think it's we've just seen these thumbnails. Anyway,
But okay, that's weird. So Crystal Collection Guide.
the channel is ranking.
Yeah.
So to me, this suggests that this is just not a search term that people use in The Sims at all.
This could be a challenge that they've made up to try to like trend set. But in that case,
Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel.
that's all right.
There we go.
In that case, you again want to be super clear about what it is. So there are rocks and crystals you can collect in the game, which is why we did get some other Sims 4 search results. If that's what it is, then the challenge should be you call it Rocks and Crystals Challenge in the video, but in the titles and the thumbnails you pitch it differently. It's about collecting rocks and crystals for whatever purpose. Maybe you have to collect them to make all of your money in the game, or maybe you're supposed to collect a certain amount by a certain time frame, or you lose. And then again, it's about repitching the video, because if it was a more popular challenge, then I would have taken back what I said earlier. But now that it doesn't seem like it's very popular, it could become that, but it just has to be pitched in a different way. No one's going to be searching for rocks and crystals challenges. It's just not big enough.
Yeah, I think discovery of your content is probably the biggest challenge you have right now. It is so niched at the moment that people probably don't know what they're getting into, because if rocks and crystals isn't something that 10 million other Sims players are familiar with and have played, then there's a disconnect between expectation. Because as Dan and I said, when we first looked at these, we were trying to figure out, have you modded the Sims game to create like some sort of drama out of it? Like a what's the phrase that's used? You know, like with Halo Red and Blue and
Machinima?
Yeah, that type of. I thought they were kind of doing that.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Because there's these characters that are like very distinct, but it's about rocks and crystals. So I'm guessing I thought that was their name, and it was a role play, and that maybe that's part of it. But it's too confusing. Like, we have to ask ourselves way too many questions, and by the time we're done asking ourselves those questions, we've already moved on to a different video where we're not going to click into that. So that's going to be the challenge here. What I'd recommend you do is, if you like Sims 4 challenges, try to keep up with the biggest channels in this space and watch the challenges they're doing, and then jump in there. Do your own version of that challenge. There's a great example of this in the RuneScape community. There's a creator that's probably going to hit 1 million subscribers. First one to do it. They're called Settled. And they started, they weren't even the first one to do it, but they're doing this RuneScape Tile Man challenge where they have to move on specific tiles based on how much XP they get. Suddenly a bunch of channels came up and started doing the same thing, and a bunch of them rose too. It wasn't like, oh, this person's already dominating it, we can't participate because they already took it over. No, when someone makes a challenge popular, if you're a creator, you can jump on that challenge as well, and also find yourself finding your own way in there.
Dan, can you find a suitable sound effect to celebrate Creative Cell Therapy, who've just signed up to vidIQ Boost using the 50% discount? Congratulations to you. Hopefully you will find our tools very helpful. Make sure you check out all of the tutorials that are going to help you maximize vidIQ Boost. You may have also noticed that I've just done a little bit of a tweak to the live stream, where I've now set it to subscribers only who can comment. And there's a reason for that. We're going to move away from the random ball picker, and we're going to go to our giveaway selection tool to choose the last couple of channels to audit. So Dan, what is a word we could use to sum up today's live stream that people need to type into the chat to get selected?
Well, can they do emojis? Like, if they did the 5 stars, like, would that work?
I'll try.
Hashtag and then put 5-star emojis.
Is this gonna break? Is this gonna break the live stream?
I think it has to have a hashtag in front of it.
Right. So let's see. Hashtag 5-star emojis. Let's start collecting and see if it works. We've got 2 entrants.
It's working.
Oh, this is going to be fun. We can now choose entrants by emojis, we believe. So yeah, if you put hashtag 5 stars, but only once, we can pick people for special audits.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about gaming channels, non-gaming channels now. We're just going to wait for the entry count to pass 50, and then we'll draw someone from the pot.
You only need to do it once. It doesn't help if you do it multiple times because it only counts you as once. It's smarter than that. So do it once and then kick back and relax.
Yeah, YouTube may put you in some sort of weird timeout if you do it too many times as well. So just the once will do. As you can see, we've got now 90 entrants. Let's wait for it to go above 100, and then let's draw. Let's draw away. Ben Obi Tech. Surely this is going to be a channel about the Star Wars tech you can buy from Amazon. Okay. It is a second person on the list. I'm surprised there's more than one person called Ben Obi Tech. All right, Dan. I'm seeing tech reviews, tips, hacks. This is a shorts channel.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They are going after, they are on the journey to 10 million YouTube shorts views. And I would say right now they're doing a pretty good job of that in terms of consistency. They're posting 2 or 3 times a day. Each video is getting 1,000 views plus, more or less. I think it's worth just maybe clicking on one of these. Let's do 3 reasons to buy an iPhone 14 Pro.
Here are 3 reasons you should buy the iPhone 14 Pro. We have what Apple now calls the dynamic island instead of the notch. It may not have as much functionality now as some people would hope, but it's still a design change.
Show us using a notch.
The phone look different from the front, and when the dynamic island is actually doing stuff, it's pretty neat. The second reason is the new cameras. We have a brand new 48 megapixel sensor. We finally have features like Pro RAW, 4K cinematic mode on the rear and the front-facing camera. And we also get this new action mode, which essentially takes a really smooth video without the need of a gimbal. Third and final reason is the always on display. This always on display
Travis
looks
hits
amazing,
us.
definitely unique as well.
It's turned it off already.
Phones with always on display.
I like always on display.
I think because of the way Apple does it, it's just not as good. So what did you think of that as a short?
I think it's brilliant. I think that's fantastic because that short was for everybody. Even if you didn't have an iPhone, you could benefit from it because you're like, well, maybe I'll get one. And if you have an iPhone, maybe you learned about a couple new features. The host of the channel did a really good job inviting me in as someone who's never seen their content before. Yep. It was just it was them in front of the camera. In the first second, it's like, here's what you're going to get out of my video. And that's how you do a short. Because we're going to find this out in the wild. Shorts just go out into the short shelf, and YouTube is just going to present it to people who didn't ask for it. And that's what every shorts creator needs to know. And this person understands that perfectly.
So a couple of interesting things here. They were covering some, where was it? I saw DJI Mini for a little while. No, they did 1 or 2 videos on that, so maybe not. I thought they were getting distracted by a new toy that they got, because it looked like it was all Apple products, iPads, iPhones, and then there was that slight deviation. And here's another really interesting thing. They're doing long-form content, which is actually performing as well as their shorts. 1,000 views, 1,500 views. Curiously, the DJI Mini got 4,000 views. So that is kind of outside of your usual tech topic, and it still performed well. Because the other question I was asking myself, Dan, is as I watched the short, I thought, has this person got a separate long form channel? Because they're clearly very good at their content production. But it looks as if it is all just on this one channel, which is good.
That they're willing to tell us about, anyway.
Yeah. I guess my question would be, there's been quite a gap between this iPhone video, 9 days, and then presumably you've gotten like another iPhone video in the works. You're already now 2 weeks gone from when the iPhone 14 was announced. I'm worried that from a long form perspective, that opportunity for tutorials is passing you by because it's so competitive in that space. I know from experience, when you buy a new piece of tech, you want to get those evergreen pieces of content out as soon as possible to try and establish yourself in the search rankings. But on the flip side, this channel is having success with quick tutorials in shorts, which even we've struggled to try and succeed in.
Yeah.
My one argument would be with the shot that we watched, Dan, is I thought it was a little too long. I thought it should have been maybe 60% of the length it was. I feel as if there were opportunities to cut down a little bit.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, but it was really well put together. The production quality was great. The very clear message at the beginning of the video is exactly what you want to do. This is why you should buy the iPhone 14. Boom. Like, we know what we're here for. They appreciate that in shorts, your title and your thumbnail is actually really just the first couple of seconds of video that starts playing.
I just want to try this one. Like, check out this super cool iOS screenshot trick. So I assume it's a new, interesting way to take a screenshot. I would expect this to be a short of between 12 and 16 seconds. I think that's how long it takes to show somebody to do that.
Here's an awesome iOS screenshot trick you probably didn't know about. So when you take a screenshot and you want to go and circle a certain thing, sometimes your scribble looks kind of bad. Like, this does not look very good or very professional at all. What you can actually do is, if you draw a circle and then you hold it, it will actually make a really, really nice and precise circle. You can do the same thing with other shapes. Make an arrow here, just hold it. Let's make a square here. You can draw different shapes and it will go ahead and fix them for you. Make sure.
Okay, so it's smoothing out drawings into shapes.
Yeah.
Again, do you think that was the right length, or do you think it could have been cut down a bit?
I think once you showed me that you can hold your finger on it and it'll fix it, I just got all the information I need. And I'm not going to stay much longer to see all the different shapes you can draw. I want to see a couple, but I'm not going to sit through as long as I did. And that's the problem you have with shorts. You want people to stay throughout the whole thing and potentially even watch it again. And if you give them you dangle the carrot and then you give them the carrot, but then you keep going, there's no incentive for them to stay anymore. And with shorts, it's so easy to swipe away. That's kind of the game you're playing. And it's okay if you're thinking, well, that would only be like a 5-second short. There's nothing wrong with that, actually, like at all with YouTube Shorts. It can be that short.
Don't get me wrong. I think this creator is doing an excellent job with their content. I'm just looking at the edges, trimming a little bit of fat here and there just to shave off 5 seconds here, another 2 seconds there. I felt that shot had two intros. Like, here's this interesting trick, and then you showed them problem. And my thought would have been, let's show them the problem. Let's just get straight to the problem and how to fix it. Not, I'm going to show you this cool iOS screenshot trick, because you kind of already have that in the title. People may not necessarily see that title.
So the first frame of short in your eyes then is like them saying, here's a cool trick to fix this screenshot mess, like, or whatever. Like, so they're holding the phone to the camera and they're already doing the thing that is bad, right? The circle looks like crap. And so now, has this ever happened to you? That's kind of like the approach now, right?
I guess I would start along the lines of, so when you're taking screenshots, right, you get all of these messy lines when you're trying to draw on, when you're trying to annotate on them. Well, if you do this by holding down, it's gonna smooth out your shapes, and you can do this for squares, hearts, circles. Boom.
Boom. Yeah.
I think that would take like 15 seconds if you did it properly.
The arrow is the most impressive thing to me, by the way. Like, I can imagine it fixing a circle or a square, but it's actually gonna like make the arrows look really nice too. That's really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of intriguing stuff there. But yeah, if you can present it even faster, that's going to help with your retention. That's going to help the short spread farther.
Very cool channel we have here, for a channel that's like 6 months into their journey, and they're mixing both shorts and long form content. I'm very impressed. You're in a very competitive market. So good luck there. And that, Dan, brings us right up to the 1 p.m. mark, at least for me in Vancouver, and for where you are, Dan. So we will call it a successful session. I just realized that we should we do one more? I kind of feel as if we've let people down there.
Maybe one more.
All right, let's do one more. Yeah, I didn't realize at 10 to the hour we were going to just focus on one channel.
You said bye, and a bunch of people left, by the way.
Whoops. Oh well. Well, for those of you who are stuck around, Real Desi, let's audit your channel.
That is a lesson in saying goodbye too early.
It is.
Say goodbye too early. People will leave. They're like, oh my gosh, class is out. I can go home. The bell rang.
The bell is for us, not for you. Okay, Dan. So a gaming channel that has a mix of Call of Duty, Fortnite, Fall Guys, Red Dead Online, an eclectic mix.
They have their they have themselves in these thumbnails. They've kind of like tied the videos together in terms of like putting them in there, I think, in a pretty good way.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we're bouncing around a lot. Call of Duty, Fortnite. Oh, okay. But then Fall Guys and then Grand Theft Auto. And like, these are, again, games that are just kind of, there's not as much overlap as you would want. And it looks like just from the titles and the thumbnails, you're not just saying Call of Duty episode 12. You're doing some interesting things, but I don't know how attached I can get to you before you're going to play Fall Guys again or Fortnite again. And if I'm a Call of Duty stan, it's going to be hard for me to like latch onto you. So this is, again, like kind of when I look at this, it's kind of a matter of channel focus, but we don't know. Let's see. How old is the channel? Like, maybe they're just figuring things out.
6 months.
6 months. That's not bad. I mean, for 6 months, this is some pretty decent progress. We're seeing a lot of different things. If you're still not sure what that game is that you want to play, what that target audience is that you're trying to go after, I would encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Just to try and build your on-camera presence, build your skills up. But eventually there comes a point where you want your channel to be very consistently about something. It's always for a specific viewer. And right now it feels like you're targeting too many types of people with this.
I'm intrigued enough to click on this one to see the intro, the first 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yo, bro, didn't I told you I was gonna kill you?
Enemy down!
Whoa. Yeah. I did.
I don't know if we can play this music.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to sort of introduce us and say, in this video, I'm going to play COD M for the first time. And I managed to get 17 headshots because flexing my muscles, I'm awesome at this game. And it kind of wasn't that at all.
Yeah. It's a pretty impressive stat for your first time playing a new game. I would have pitched that video differently. Is Call of Duty too easy? That could have been an interesting pitch. Like, how could a first time player do this good? There's just different ways to pitch videos to that broader audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, when I mouse over, you see like the GIF, like the little GIF that it uses. I'm seeing like text and words, and these look more visually exciting than the intros.
Mm-hmm.
What's this one? Action. Cutscene.
Hey, yo, so welcome back to the...
Okay. All of those intros are very different.
Yeah. I think they're still trying to find their style. It seems really cool. Like their audio quality is really good, by the way. I don't know if you heard that microphone. That was smooth. That was great. For me, like when I'm looking at this channel, it just feels like there's a lot of good pieces here that just haven't quite come together yet in the right way. And I would be focused on your channel focus. I would try to sit down and figure out who's my target audience. If I were to make my content for one person and I wanted that same person to come back to my channel every single day, what type of video would I like to make for them? Because that's going to determine the person who comes through the door. But you want them to stay in the room.
You are right. Help. It's time to stop. I'm calling it right here. Don't forget, everyone, that you can still take advantage of our amazing half-price vidIQ boost for the next 2 months. The link is in the description to automatically apply that promo code. We've audited a dozen or so channels today, ranging from train model channel to a tech tutorial channel telling you how to use Windows in less than 60 seconds, a Disney channel, and many others besides. And we will be doing the same tomorrow, but with your videos, Dan. Yeah, just a final plug for why people should return in about 22 hours time.
Yep. Be back here in 22 hours. So we're going to look at your videos just like we did today. We're going to randomly select channels. And then just like the video we watched a little bit ago, we're going to actually break down some tips and tricks to help with your audience retention overall. It's about getting people not to click away from your videos tomorrow. So today was about getting them to click into the video. Tomorrow's about keeping them once they click.
We appreciate and value your time very much. We hope you gained a lot of value from this live stream. And that's the attitude you should have with your audience whenever you make a YouTube video. See you soon.